And so, good evening to everyone, and good evening to everyone online. Om Shanti, and welcome to this evening's program at the Inner Space, Wembley. Anybody here for the first time? Oh, welcome. And so, just before we begin, a few house rules, just to let you know, we have the ladies and gents just down the corridor, but then to also keep our phones on silent if you have phones. And thirdly, if you need any water or you feel that you need some refreshments, then they're just outside near the door. And so, the topic for this evening, the light of hope. If you think about it, what is the light of hope? The light of hope, and because it is Maha Shivratri, and we're celebrating that occasion this evening, it's about the divine light, and the divine light awakening the spiritual truth within me. And so the question we want to pause and ask ourselves is, well, where is hope in today's world? Where is hope in today's world? Clarity in confusion, where is that? Where is the peace in this peaceless world? Where is it? Ask yourself. And when you begin to ask yourself, you'll begin to find that answer. And so tonight's program, we'd like you to sit back, relax, and have a beautiful experience and allow those answers to emerge and take that back with you. And so, to begin the Maha Shivratri program this evening for you, we'd like to invite Sister Janie, who's going to do a welcome dance in the occasion. Thank you. So thank you very much. And moving on, this evening, you could see the experience of Shivratri coming alive. Can you? And so stay connected. Now, bringing light into our modern life. Today we have with us on a panel, very special panel actually, of three wonderful souls. And their names are Simran, and you all know Sister Daxa, and Shantanu. These three souls, I'll keep their identities on one side for this evening, for you to discover them later. And so it is about a panel that will give you highlight about the topic, the light of hope. So stay connected to that topic. And how do I understand God, the Supreme, to be the one to bring hope, but to understand in context what we're celebrating? Why are we celebrating? What are we celebrating? And the depths and its significance in daily life. Because of course I need to apply it in daily life. And so I won't speak much. I'd let this experience and wisdom and practical insight come from them, and like to welcome them on stage. Thank you.
Can you hear me now? Perfect. Thank you for the warm introduction. And I think I'll get right into it. And for the audience who might not be aware of what Maha Shivratri is, I would like to ask Sister Daksha to explain a little bit about Maha Shivratri, what it is, and how it is celebrated. And anything that you could add on, please do.
Sure. Again, thank you for the warm welcome, and good evening to those watching us online. So just very briefly, we are marking this event to honor Maha Shivratri. It's an Indian festival, and one of the main festivals. In fact, the other festivals, like in India, there is festivals probably every day. And certainly every month we have many festivals. But this is one of the first spiritual festival of the year. And we also actually just, Valentine's Day is just gone. And also it's Chinese New Year. So we are many things today. And our theme this evening is about hope as well, light of hope. So Maha Shivratri is a festival celebrated on the kind of darkest night of the lunar month, and is in memory of the Creator, and how at the time when there is total darkness, and the way we look at it spiritually, when there's the ignorance of who we are, our true identity, our true nature, and how God's wisdom steps in and actually brings the day. So it is, we are at the, past the dusk and almost into night. And the dawn is very close as well. So this is the festival that's marking that. And the word Shiva itself, the word Shiva is probably one of the first that was ever used to refer to the Supreme, to the higher source. In Sanskrit, we call it Shashvat Nam. So the very first name, and a name that has continued for a long time. And the word Shiva has many, many connotations and meanings and attributes. But the three that I'd like to refer to, Shiva means the light, Shiva, the seed, and Shiva, the benefactor. So these are three things we always remember when we talk about Shiva: the light, the form; the benefactor, the act or the attributes of the Supreme; and Shiva, who is, the blissful as well. We remember Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. So the one who is true, the one who is the ocean of bliss, the one who is beautiful, ever pure.
I would just like to add, when you said the form, in ancient India, when the scriptures were being written, instead of writing 0, they would write Shiva.
Yes.
So if somebody is doing calculations, they would say, after 1, you have to add 0. Instead of saying Shunya, 0, they will say 1, Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. So Shiv and 0, like the beginning, is the same. Yeah. So the form is
It's true, and there are 2 words in Hindi, Shiva and Shiv and Shav. So Shav actually is
corpse.
Is a dead body, corpse, and Shiv is the enlightened one, the supreme light.
Okay, I think I'm a bit confused, and I think a lot of our audience might also be a bit confused. The confusion being, it's Maha Shivratri, but the topic of today is light of hope.
Right.
I want to understand how hope is connected to Maha Shivratri, because if Shiv is the darkness, Maha Shivratri is the night of Ratri, darkness, and Shiv is written as Shunya, and Shiv and Shav, dead body, all of these are opposite to the light of hope. If you can shed some light on how light of hope is the topic, how it's connected to Maha Shivratri.
Okay, so I mean, it's all about interpretation again. All the festivals, irrespective of what religion they belong to, were always curated and created around some significance after a long observation. You talk about Eid, I just came, and today is the first night before they start Ramadan from tomorrow.
Yes.
So imagine again, there is a significance why all these big festivals are coming together. Indeed. There must have been an observation, which maybe I don't know, maybe my father didn't knew, but his forefather and their forefather knew. And they always say Shivratri is a time where planetary movements are such that if you want to aim and achieve something very significant spiritually, it is easier for you to do that. For example, I want to start, let's say, a low carb diet or something, and I have been trying it very hard and I couldn't do it. But if you try it on that day, your promise would sustain longer. So there is a movement of energy which helps you to take bigger steps, bolder steps. So now this is in terms of, again, observation. But again, when I talk about the creator, the light, where there is no light, there is no life. And that's why if there is no Shiv, then the life is more like dead. So for me, when I associate death or dead, it's about losing that hope, losing that positivity. And when I bring that light of divinity into it, then it becomes very divine. So that would be my interpretation.
Okay, I'll share some of my thoughts. Often Maha Shivratri is also connected or referred to as the Mahakal. Yeah, so the word Kal in Hindi has many meanings, but 2 important meanings that we normally think about or talk about. Kal is time, and Kal also means death. And so it's like the great death in a way. And but why there is hope, or the connection of the hope? So we understand that we are a being of light, and the Supreme is also the supreme being of light. And that's my parent, my friend, my guide, etc. So all relationships with that supreme being. Now, just think on a worldly sense, like you are a little child and you have to go to a very dark place. But if your parents are there with you, holding your hand and walking you, would you be scared?
No.
Right? Or say, suppose there is going to be snowing or it's going to be some natural calamities, but somebody is there to hold you, to support you, then you won't be scared. So the reality is, one of the things that, of course, the wisdom that the Supreme shares is that the time we are, it is the darkest. in terms of external things, in terms of the chaos and some of the things you already mentioned, and you're going to ask more about it. But the comforting thing is that the Supreme Light is with us, guiding us, protecting us, making this journey a smooth one. So yes, on one hand it's Mahakal because we're all going to face it. And that's why it is called the Mahakal. But at the same time, the comforting thing is my parent is with me, my friends with me, my advisor, guide, everyone, old relationships, the one who is able to fulfill the love of old relationship is with me. So I don't need to worry. I'm in safe hands. So that's why, recently, actually just yesterday, I was attending 2 funerals, and both souls had done so much charitable actions for the family and everybody they knew and the community. And so the family were certain that they didn't have to pray for the soul. And because the fortune that they've created by serving, they're in safe hands, and God's canopy is with them, guiding them. So that's why it is so important for us to have that connection with the Supreme Light and the form that is universally accepted by every faith.
Can I also add, when you said Mahakal, it is also translated as the great death, the death of the death. So often people are afraid of death because sometimes they don't know what is going to happen next. And more than the scared, they are scared for themselves, they're scared of their loved ones because they are going to lose them. What will happen to them? So that is another factor that keeps people in despair or they're afraid of death. So when you say that Shiva is Mahakal, it also means that he's the one, or it, she, whatever gender you put to that Supreme Light, it doesn't matter because it's an energy. The wisdom of that energy liberates you from the fear of death. So it helps you to come out of this phobia or this fear of the unknown. And that's why he's called the death of the death or the great death. That's why he's Mahakal, is even greater than death, because he makes you feel, oh, it's the truth. Death is like how Sister Daxa said, it's something that we all have to face. Now something that I have to face, you have to face, there's no point fearing it because fearing will give it more power than it should have. So instead what we can do is, as you said, to let that light come in our everyday life and help us to do some charitable acts that makes everybody else around that we are leaving behind feel very comfortable. Like the 2 funerals, you gave an example. They were so comforted because they knew the departed soul have done enough good for themselves. So that's where I feel that wisdom works.
Yes, just to add, so actually, like you, I just want to underline what he said, liberates us from the fear of death. So that's why he's the death of the death. Do you understand? So Mahakal.
That's quite interesting because I think a lot of us never really asked ourselves this question. How does God, how does the Supreme Light, the Divine, really helps us in our life? Like, how does he benefit us? A lot of us, I don't think we have asked this question to ourselves. So I think I want to touch on that. If I want to feel hopeful, because in a world like this where chaos is everyday routine, how do I feel hopeful with the support of the Divine? Is there anything that I can do to reap benefits from that companionship of the Divine?
So God's wisdom teaches us one very important lesson, that whatever has happened is good, whatever is happening is better, and what's going to happen will be the best. So if I just understand even this wisdom, that if God is with me, or if God's remembrance is with me, God's light is with me, nothing can go wrong. So even in the seemingly wrong things, say I may be surrounded by natural calamities or civil wars or whatever, these are things we are always hearing, and also we'll probably in one of those situations soon. But God's remembrance protects me. And then at the time when I'm about to leave the body, then even then it will be because I'm ready. Yeah, we didn't mean to talk about death today, but it means I'm ready. It's with my own understanding, acceptance, and readiness. Let me give you an example I hadn't thought about, but since you asked me this question, 9/11 situation, and you've heard some of one of our brothers actually, he was on the 65th floor or one of these high floors, but Harvey came down just in time before the building collapsed. But there was one of our contact person who actually passed away. She died. And then, as is the system that we remember God and, do charitable actions after the departed souls. And the message that was coming, that soul did not suffer. So instantly when all the fire was coming, the soul flew. So though she didn't survive that attack physically, but it was just willingly, it's time for me to go, and this is the way I have to go, and she was ready. So because that soul was so close to the divine. So if you get saved, it's fine. Even if you have to leave the body, it will still be okay.
I think that reassurance is again something that we miss in today's world. Even if there are two people who are deeply in love, it could be couples, it could be siblings, it could be parents and child. What actually two people in those relationships are actually trying to establish is reassurance for each other. Now, the question is, how much of that reassurance can I claim from someone who also doesn't know their future? Someone who is equally wandering, just like me, and equally vulnerable like me. So the problem is that I start to, take your shoulder and you start to rest on my shoulder, and both our shoulders are paining and we are still continuing. That's the problem. But when we come in contact with God or that creator, it's important to understand that it's not just knowing God, it's also really weaving a beautiful relationship with that personality. And when I have that relationship, then there is a deep reassurance, like a friend. Like in the beginning, how Daksha said that if it's total dark and if a child is walking with hands with their parents, they don't really worry about the darkness, because now they know that I have some reassurance. That's the hope. So similarly, for me, I personally feel that if I check on a daily basis, what is my relationship with God like today? Is it really strong, or is it's going here and there? It's about working on that relationship. The more I work on it in any relationship, the more I put my energy into it, I receive something out of it. It's same with God as well. The more I put love in that relationship, trust in that relationship, surrendering in that relationship, I start feeling that good energy that's coming out of it.
So that's, love begets love.
Yes.
Yeah, and one of the main things, in some of our scriptures also, you see, sarva dharmanu paritaj. Just let go of all your religions, what you've believed in, what you've heard, what you've learned, what you've been told, and really recognize me and come to me.
That's like when you put a mango seed, the tree that comes out of it will only give you mangoes with mango seeds, nothing else. So if in this relationship I put love, I will only receive back many more fold of love. But most of the times we are afraid of God, or we are scared of God, maybe with the thought, I'll be punished because of all that I have done, etc., 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 which again comes from information that I have collected but never tested them. So it's like, I've given you an information about a vegetable, it's very nice, but you have never tasted it. You've never tried it. So you live in this constant, I don't know if it is allergic for me, I don't know if it is suitable for me, I don't know, can I eat it in the evening or at night? So many questions. But again, the answer is try it, taste it, and if you like it, continue. So that is something that is an active way of engaging.
True.
That is quite interesting, and that takes me to my next question, because a lot of people, a lot of us have a similar experience that we have kind of lost hope in the world because of the kind of lived experiences we've had with other people, with other communities, maybe what's going on in the world. I think the hope, if you can think of it as a lever, it's kind of the meter is kind of decreasing day by day. We are kind of losing hope. In such a scenario, how do I get in connection with God when it's a little difficult to trust? I know we can try, but like, how to go beyond that trial? How do I trust this divine creator to, instill that hope in me, to instill that hope that still something can be saved in me, in world, in the chaos that's already around the world?
I think the word trust is something that takes time for us to experiment. There is a very beautiful story that I always like, and I remember Sister Jayanti mentioning this story quite often. It's like there's a rope walker who walks on the rope, and balancing act. And so each time he walks from point A to point B, people clap. So then slowly, people stopped coming to see his act because it's like, oh, we know he'll cross. So this knowing that he will cross easily has come when they have seen that capability, they have seen that pace, that grace in his walking. He's not walking like that. He's walking with lot of grace. That made them assured that he can do it. So now, because he wasn't earning enough, he said, okay, I'll walk with the child in my hands. So he put the child on his shoulder and he started walking the rope, balancing it. And now people were like, oh, will he make it? Will he make it? So a group of people were saying, he will make it. He should make it. They were praying. They were really positively looking for him to cross the rope. And when they came down successfully on the other side, they said, you will cross the rope. I knew it. We knew it. But this child was not crying. He was not afraid. What happened? So the child said, because I knew my father will never let me fall down. He's my dad. So they had faith on the rope walker, but the child had trust on his father. That my father might sacrifice himself, but will never let any wrong happen to me. So sometimes we are the observers watching and having faith on God. And the story tells us, take a step ahead and start trusting that nothing wrong can happen when I'm in his company, when I'm in his surrounding, in his canopy. So the child was so happy, that I know I'll be safe. So I have to bring out ways to experience that trust. I can't give you a formula, that do this and you will feel that. Each one has an individual connection to that light. And so each one has to experiment and come up with a way to start experiencing that power of trust. And that trust in itself is hope.
Just to add, see, why there has been a mistrust. Because we're not aware of our true identity. And we think we are a body, or we are the role we are playing, a mother or father, husband, wife, child. So our interaction has been with human beings. We've taken from things, possessions, property, finances, whatever. So all of these are mortal in a way. So when I'm seeing myself as a body, I'm feeling that mortality. And the ones that I have been taking from or hoping to get from are also on that basis of mortality. And this is why, even though there had been love, say your parents are loving you, but they're not there with you to support you, to physically support you when you need it. Yeah. So there has been mistrust in various ways. Sometimes people have really seen bad things happen to them, been cheated, deceived, and sometimes it has carried on for years. And so many years later, you realize, oh, that's what the person did to me, and I was thinking they were my friend. So this is why the mistrust has come. But when we get the spiritual understanding and wisdom that I am a being of light, which is eternal, and the Supreme is also eternal, and the Supreme's love, the Divine's love, is unconditional. It's one-way traffic. We're receiving, we're not having to give back. And the only way we can give back in some form is we share with others. And this is why there is safety. Because a lot of people, it's like the parents will love the child, but there'll be slight hope, slight expectations that when I grow up, when I become old, they will look after me. Right? So even though there's pure love, but it's not completely altruistic. But that supreme light, the Shiva's love, is totally altruistic. And this is why one of the meaning of the word Shiva, the benefactor, the bestower. And that's why we don't have to worry. So we have to park all the experiences we had before, with the human beings or our possessions, our safety means. But now, being aware that I'm an immortal being, an eternal being, a being of light, and that's supreme light who's altruistically, unconditionally giving me, then there is safety. And as is already mentioned, that love begets love, that one experience would lead into, yes, this is how, God's protection was with me. I was saved. I was about to meet an accident, but then in nick of time, I corrected myself. Or something else I was going to say something which is going to hurt somebody, and our friendship would be broken, and we stopped ourselves. Somebody came in between, or whatever it may be. But that's God's protection. There's so many experiences we've had throughout our life. If you just try and recall them, we'll understand that how much God loves us. And so then it's easy for us to love in return.
That's quite interesting. And what you said, what both of you said, really struck a chord with me, especially at the point where you mentioned that it's a relationship with the Father, not God, or not someone we hold on a pedestal. And that, even while hearing it, made me feel a bit connected to Him. So I really, I was wondering if you can also share an experience where you stopped thinking of the Supreme Light or the Creator as God and started thinking of Him as a father, or like someone you can have a close, intimate relationship with. I think me and as well as the audience would love to hear some experiences, or maybe that point where you realized, oh, this is not God, this is my own father. Any experiences?
Yeah, sure. Just a little bit of background that my fortune that I've had a very spiritual upbringing, and I often have shared this, that the three main souls that I credit for that upbringing growing up was my grandmother. It was very, very spiritual. We could not go to the school without going to the temple, and various other things, which has helped me to lead this BK way of understanding very easily. And then for my studies, I was in a hostel. And again, there, the head teacher, we used to call them principal, was a very spiritual person. She didn't get married because then she could look at us all children, whoever came, without biasness. And really, she thoroughly sustained us. She was a Parsi lady. And then, as I came on this spiritual path, Dadi Janki, and many Dadis, but certainly more closely with Dadi Janki, guiding us, guiding me to lead this way of understanding, where to whatever extent possible, just altruistically give, altruistically share, and then how God will protect you. So one time she said, that Bhagwan hi hamara baap hai aur hamara baap hi Bhagwan hai. So God is my father and my father is God. And it just kind of clicked. I mean, even before that, I had a very close relationship, but that was just so, in a very comical way, she was saying, in a very entertaining way, she was saying. And it's true that God is my parent. God is my friend, and for each of us, maybe we'll have a different relationship that will matter more than the other. But it doesn't matter. Whichever one works for you, because relationships are means to give us the maximum happiness, but also the maximum sorrow. But relationship with the divine is unconditional, right? Altruistic. So there's no sorrow, question of sorrow here. And this is why, So many occasions, but this particular joke I was remembering where she said, suddenly, that my father is God and God is my father.
I will also remember that now.
True.
But I think everybody has many experiences of that connection. And given a time and space, if you just think about it, maybe you'll think about it tonight, that what are those instances where I could totally feel like I was really looked after? I could feel that powerful love. For me, there are many such instances, but maybe one that I was just thinking, I asked the same question, what you did so many things for me, which one do you want me to say?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this picture comes, and I was like, are you sure I need to say this one?
Yeah.
But this incident is not that connects to me. In my childhood in India, we used to have only one television channel. It's called National DD channel, National. It used to have nothing interesting for children, especially no cartoons, nothing. And my neighbors who used to stay right across the road, they had some dish TVs. They would have many cartoon networks. So my routine used to be, right after coming back from school, eat fast, run to their home and watch some cartoons. And it had become kind of a religion for me to do on a regular basis. Something that you do on a regular basis turns into a religion. And if somebody is stopping you, start getting, So I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I started feeling that there is a voice that's saying, go now back to your house. Go now back to your house. And I was like, no, but this is just 15 minutes more left. There was such a strong pull that I had to leave. And when I came back home, I saw my mom is a school teacher, not school, like she's a teacher, but she used to teach school children as tuition. And all the children are making noise. I said, what happened? And when I went there, I saw there's a big snake that has fallen because our house had a lot of trees. From the trees, maybe the snake had come inside and it fell right on my mother's lap. And I saw she's sitting very silently, quietly, and the snake is also sitting very quietly. And I was like, oh, so now I know I should have run here.
True.
So it was not about protecting just me, but also protecting all the relationships that I carry. He's equally worried about my mother as I should be. And that feeling, I was like, oh, now what should I do? And my mom said, you don't do anything. It will go on its own. So she was sitting very quietly. And after some time, that snake just went away, and then we shoved it out. But that incident immediately emerged right now when I was thinking. And it makes me feel like it's not just he loves me, he loves all my businesses as well. So he is like a true parent. He will love you, he'll love your dress, he'll love your activities, he'll love your mistakes, he'll just love you, nothing else.
Just would like to add is, I think to sum up as well, for me, I think the awareness is that in my life, there's always been some or the other spiritual person. Sometimes they've been younger than me physically, but guiding him. But I know it's God providing me that timely knowledge, timely wisdom, so I continue to perform right karma.
Those were very interesting stories that made me want to build a relationship with God. But there's also, I think a lot of us would also have a fear because the kind of experiences that we've had, we often don't have high hopes for our own selves. There's always a sense of guilt, a sense of hopelessness for our own selves that maybe we are not good enough. Do you think God would also feel that way, or would he feel something else? Is there still hope for me? If someone asks this question to themselves, is there still hope for me, that God also has hope for me? What would you want to say for that?
To say that, in a family, if there were various children and somebody is very weak, always ill, where would your attention go? The parents' attention would go to the one who's more needy, right? And even not just the parents, but all the other siblings will also look after the child who is more in need. So I think same is spiritually, that it's not that God loves just the ones who are, doing charitable actions, punya karma, especially also looking after, the ones that are not. And, like the very beautiful song, an old song, Tere kaato se bhi pyar, tere phoolo se bhi pyar. So God loves everyone equally. But yes, when we are open to God's love and light to come to us, that's when we can receive. It's not that God is biased in any way, that giving more to the ones who've been, faithful to Him and not to the others.
I don't know, but please
I
continue.
just wanted to say, I was just thinking when Dakshaban was talking about hope, and it occurred to me how easily we use this word these days. I hope I find the bus. I hope there's enough potatoes in the basket. Use that. We have made this word so it has lost its real meaning. What we actually mean to say is, am I planning right so that I catch the bus on time? Am I planning enough, But we start putting words there where they shouldn't be. And as a result, the meaning behind those words starts to fade. For me, hope is not something that I have to or I have to increase. It is just the positivity inside that when is high, I'm hopeful and I bring hope to others. And when that positivity inside goes down, I start feeling miserable. I start feeling bad. I start feeling weak. So now, if it is just this positivity, what else is hope? Thinking about positive things. There is going to be something nice. It's fine. All these feelings of positivity is hope. Now, if I am not able to create that hope for my own self, it is because I am not putting my attention to the positive things. But there cannot be anyone who is full of just negativities. There has to be something, at least one thing that I can focus on. So similarly, when I think for myself, when I am not achieving what I want to achieve, I try to, again, with a little bit of discipline, bring my attention to what is positive in this. So connecting back to positivity helps us to stay focused on positivity rather than all the negatives we might have. So similarly, if I feel hopeless about myself, which means hoping less about my own self, I need to connect to what is positive in me. There must be something that is positive. And a good question I always ask myself, how or what is God thinking of me right now at this point? And it's a good question to even reflect on. I have done a mistake. Before I start going into a cycle of lot of thoughts, I ask myself, what will God think about me now?
So maybe we have a little reflection.
So maybe we do this, take a moment, sit very comfortably, easily, and take a deep breath. Gently breathe out. Breathe in and gently breathe out. I've been listening to so many things, but let me focus on one question. What is the creator? What is that supreme parent thinking about me right now? Ask that supreme friend simply, tell me, what do you think of me? Try to keep this vision that he has for me engraved in your heart. Only this vision matters. All the other visions that others have for me, even the vision sometimes that I have for myself, doesn't matter. All that matters is this vision that he has for me. Because this is truth. He is truth. His vision for me is also truth. And this truth has power. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the discussion. It was lovely. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely feeling hopeful. Thank you.
I just wanted to add to what Shantanu was sharing, that is, God's love is there, but there are times when we feel, because we've done something wrong, there is the guilt, and sometimes the arrogance hits in, or sometimes it's the guilt that carries on. And sometimes we're not able to do the good things we want to. But even at that point in time, not to feel bad. Because sometimes it's a bit like, you earning, and there are times when you don't have any jobs. But you have some bank balance, so what do? You'll use it, right? So if periods where you feel you're very low, but just remember that you've accumulated enough, use it at the moment if need be, and then start earning soon again. Then start doing good karma again. But otherwise, what happens is when we've done a lot of good karma, or our focus has been on good karma, and one wrong karma, and it just throws us away. The guilt, sometimes the arrogance, then we start justifying or feeling very low about ourselves. Could go either extreme. But rather than allowing it to go to any extreme, just, okay, I don't have the energy to do all these things I was doing. Let me use what I've accumulated a little bit, but very soon I'll start earning again. but not to allow the guilt to come in.
So focusing on the present karma instead of going in that loop of past karma.
Even if I can't do any good karma at the moment, let me make sure I'm not doing wrong karma. But very soon I'll have enough energy and understanding and strength to start doing good karma again.
I think what is like immediately whenever I am feeling low or have done something wrong, I know it. The conscience will immediately tell me this is wrong. If I know it right that moment, can I switch to something positive? Okay, if you might not remember God or don't believe in God, it's separate. Is there something else that is positive that you can connect to? Maybe your parents, maybe some values, something that is positive there for me to connect. Because that is what is needed, to switch from that, as Daksha was saying, you can connect back to your bank balance, which is there. Something positive is always there for someone.
In essence, I think I've understood that God is not just our light of hope, but also our anchor. I think that's a good analogy for us to take with us and churn on it, think about it, maybe work on our relationship with God. And a beautiful message to give. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to you as well.
You have questions from the audience?
If there's any questions from the audience, if anyone wants to ask anything, we have...
And also online, you can send it to the YouTube chats.
A mic is coming to you.
Maybe you can repeat it.
Actually, there's people watching on webcast, so it would be easier for them to listen directly to your voice, if that's okay.
And they'll enjoy a new voice.
Then everyone should ask one question. Shantanu bhai, thank you for that meditation. Actually, you left a thought in my head, like, what was the intention of God, what God would be thinking about me? So I felt relaxed, but I was thinking what He's thinking about me. Is He going to try me to tell me where I need to go? Like, what was the intention behind it? What was the thought behind it?
For me, I mean, it's simple. Na? If you are going to meet someone, like let's say you have an appointment somewhere, and if you are constantly thinking, I don't know what he's thinking about me, what he's thinking about me, you'll miss the point of that meeting. The point of the meeting is appear and listen. Appear and receive. That's the objective of the meeting. If I also start thinking what you should think for me, I'm doing two people's job and I'll feel tired. So when I am focusing this thing that, okay, let me first quieten my mind out of so many thoughts. That's why I asked you to take some deep breathing. Because then you start cancelling all the extra thoughts which are not necessary. And then let your mind ask one thought or create one thought. Stay with it. And you don't have to repeat that thought. It's about just create a thought and let that thought emit its own energy. And once you are in that space, you start receiving the result because it's an investment you made. So if you believe that, I am really in connection with this divine power, and when you ask him, what are you thinking about me? Just do it. And then just be quiet. Don't push him. Tell me now. I have to finish it in 5 minutes. You have to tell now. You can just let that question be there and then say, okay, I'll come back to you, but you have to tell me what are you thinking about me. It has to be a living relationship. It has to be like how you are with others. The same you have to be with that light. Very natural.
And let me tell you, God is always thinking good about all of us. Yes. Just like even physical parents will always see the best in the child. No matter how many mistakes they've made, they'll try to cover. They will try to say, okay, one day they will improve. So that's God's vision for us. So it's always good. Yeah.
Deep down, we all know what He's thinking about us. That's a fact. And I can vouch for it. Deep down, we all know this.
But even if it is something we've done wrong, God is not thinking or telling us because He dislikes us or He looks down upon us, but He's saying, well, that's not really you. So come out of it. Yeah.
Any more questions? Maybe any questions that came online? Perfect. I think a lot of answers were received. A lot of questions were already answered before even asking. We have one more question, if we can give the mic.
There's this tendency to overthink that God has given certain level of awareness, and I'm not able to keep up to that level of awareness and repeating certain mistakes and again. And I feel that God is thinking that I'm hopeless. I'm not going to do anything. I mean, even after giving that level of awareness. So it's always in the guilt mode that I'm not able to do enough with that level of awareness. How to cope up with that? It's
Okay, so the question to ask yourself is, do you really want to change?
Of course.
You want to change, right? So if I want to change, guilt is not the method to do it. One thing is to be aware, but from now on, I'm going to try my very best not to do that. So at whatever level is possible, at my thought level if it's possible, at speaking level, action level, wherever I can make a start, let me do that. But if I understand that guilt is actually going to be an hindrance for me to improve, then we will never go back to guilt. So yes, we have to be aware. We don't have to run away from reality. Acknowledge that this is where I am, but I cannot continue to have, to punish myself, because guilt does not allow us to be free from it. It actually enforces it. And if I understand that, then there will be no guilt.
I think a lot of us really understood how to build that connection with God. Maybe we all feel a little closer to God. How many of you feel that way? Quite a lot.
Good.
Can I just say also this question that maybe God also thinks I'm hopeless is also a sign.
When he is not able to change us.
A sign that I'm not 100% sure who God is and what God is. I am kind of taking a resemblance of my understanding of how a parent often gets frustrated, and I'm pasting that experience on God. But that God is not what He is. So it is probably a good, if I really want to come out of it, maybe a good step would be to first start knowing who God is, what God is and what He does and what He can't do. That will help me to connect with Him properly.
True.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that answer.
Thank you.
So, wasn't that a beautiful panel? Excellent? Yes? And so now, just before we come towards the end of our evening, from words into silence, we're going to take ourselves in an experience.
Just a minute, Kanan, your mic's gone.
So before we take you, okay. So before we take you,
I think everyone wants to stay in the moment.
yeah, stay in the moment. Okay, so that's okay because we're taking you into a dance now which has a music. So let's just experience that first and then we'll continue.
and breathing out. I take my awareness within, parking any thoughts, of what is happening, what I need to do. Just let me stop that flow of traffic and focus within. Capturing and experiencing some of the things that we heard. I am a being of light. As I become aware of that, an eternal being, the child of the divine. Various names to refer to that divine. Some call it Bhagwan, some call it Allah, some God, Khuda, and many more. Today let me consider referring to that being with the very first name that was used, the Shashwat Nam, the constant, the permanent one, Shiva. Shiva, the light, the benefactor, the seed, the bestower, but I have a personal relationship. That supreme light is my true parent, my guide, my friend, my protector, my teacher, my brother, my sister, and to some extent even my child. As a child, God's teachings become my priority. That shapes my life, my karma, my thinking and my relationships. My heart oozing with love for that being. And lovingly I call that being with the family name Baba, my parent, my teacher, my guide. My beloved, the more I love the Supreme Light, I get more clarity, more wisdom to lead a better life, in fact the best life. I share the Supreme's light and might with everyone. The entire world, the nature, the elements, animals, the birds. All of these make my entire family, and God being the head of the family. I slowly now bring my attention to where I am. Trusting and being assured that as long as I hold on to the hand of the Supreme Light, I'll be guided in the right direction. And this life journey becomes very beautiful and meaningful. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
गाते रहे हम ये गीत, प्रीति से होती सदा जीत। गाते रहे हम ये गीत, प्रीति से होती सदा जीत हो। संयम बने सदा चिंतन, साधना बने हमारा जीवन। गाते रहे हम ये गीत, प्रीति से होती सदा जीत हो। काश जगमगाए, बाबा की याद जीवन सजाए। गाते रहे हम ये गीत, प्रीत से होती सदा जीत। मैं माया जीत, मैं प्रकृति जीत, मैं कर्मेंद्रिय जीत। मैं मन जीत, मैं ही जगत जीत, एक बाबा ही मेरा मनमीत। गूंज सदा ये गीत, प्रीत से होती सदा जीत। मैं ही माया जीत।
Beautiful.
So that was practical, giving hope to us when we didn't have hope in that moment of silence, right? And so you knew that one was taking over. And so I wanted to add together with the benevolence. I wanted to add together with the benevolence, the light, the hope, and also connecting in experiences of God. So I think we've come to this conclusion that when you're confused and you're in fear or in doubt or in any of these situations, remembering that dance but also remembering the panel's discussion. Should you want to listen to it again? Because I think we all could do it listening again. And that wealth of wisdom coming out was incredible. So I think we have to revisit, right? And we have to go into that same space of studying mood. So I feel that when I study, I begin to go deeper and I begin to transform. And so God's light. And I remember one more thing, that not only is God light that gives hope, not only is He experiencing a relationship, but then when you go into silence, His language is also silent. So the silence helped us to connect that energy within us. And so tonight we don't want you to leave all this beautiful energy, Keshavi's dance and Jaini's dance, just in this room. We want to have this energy coming to your homes, right? So how are you going to take all this beautiful spiritual energy to your home? And one beautiful way is, Inner Space Wembley has a bookshop. And so you can take away all this wisdom and treasury in a book. So today's book that's been actually picked especially for the topic, the Alpha Point. And so God being the seed, God being that light, that Shiv that we said, that point. You can actually capture that in these books. And so not only is it this book, but many others which tell us about God, which tell us about ourselves as a soul, as we had heard, connecting with who you are, but also what we need to do in this time of darkness and how we have to perform and live every day. And so this evening we'd like to end the Maha Shivratri by giving you a token of love and sweets. So I'd like to thank the panel, so you can give applause to them. Thank you. So thank you very much. And we have some sweet for you. And also thank the tech team.
Yeah.
They receive a round of applause too. And so I'd like to invite you to come one by one to the front. And we have some sweets coming along, right?
Thank you.
And just further announcements I'd like to make before it comes. tomorrow, there's going to be a workshop on overcoming anger for 2 days, 2 parts, at 5:30 to 7. And it's going to be very interesting study time if you want to actually work on removing anger. A free one too, no need to pay, right? So invite your friends and family or those who you feel could benefit from it. But then also we have online meditation reflections, and that's on Mondays and Thursdays, 7 to 7:30. So you're most welcome in person and online. But then we also have next week's talk coming up, and the topic is healthy boundaries. Same time and same day, just a different date. And so make sure you're here again. But I want to see this whole double full. I'd like to see more online times 2. So that's the aim, to bring one other with you next week. Can we do that? Yes? Yes?
This is our 90th year of service, started in 1936. So we're very excited that as many souls can know about the divine and have that connection. That's our aim this year, even more than before.
All the information is on the website, so please do connect with us online and stay connected. Om Shanti. Good evening.